We are here with James Maida, who is the CEO of Gaming Laboratories International, or GLI, as everybody knows. And as I have to say every year when we have this conversation, James, it's always fun to talk to a guy who invented an industry.
Thanks very much for having me.
You've had a busy year at GLI. Just fill us in a little bit about what you've done and what you see for the coming year.
I think, we've done a lot of important things this year. We've increased our scale. We're over 1,300 employees now globally, operating out of about 27 offices. Our bulletproof practice, which is in GLI, we have various companies, and one of them is our cybersecurity practice, which is really becoming something that every casino and every operator and every supplier really cares very much about, because it's the new way that everybody's trying to cheat everybody. We've had a great year supporting Africa and the regulators in Africa, and that's really been catching on. In Asia and Japan, we've been supporting the movement in Japan, obviously, for new casinos. And the game is getting very much international, and we have people all over the world. So I think that's it. We also really pleased this year to have started the AGEM GLI philanthropic initiative, where AGEM and GLI are getting together and making donations to key areas in a philanthropic way so that we can support members of our industry. So we've done a lot of great things this year.
One of the issues that's emerging, I mean, it's been there for a long time, but it seems to be becoming increasingly important, is responsible gaming.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you see that evolving in the industry and GLI's role in that?
Right. Well, I know that we have a direct role in day-to-day management of responsible gaming. Kevin Mullally, our head of government relations, our VP, has been very active with responsible gambling, even when he was back in the state of Missouri before he joined us. We're supporting the Problem Gambling Center here in Las Vegas. I think that you're starting to see regulators around the world even more so think about problem gambling and how the new technology may affect that. I think that our industry has a responsibility to always keep problem gambling foremost in our minds, and at the same time, we are in an industry of entertainment and fun, so it's a balancing act. But I think the industry has to take all of those threats seriously on a daily basis.
Another topic that's really been just exciting in the United States, exciting a lot of people at least, is the proliferation of legalized sports betting.
Right.
How do you see that playing out? And again, what role or opportunities does that present for GLI?
So really, the proliferation of sports betting has really taken off in the last year post the Supreme Court decision. I think what we're seeing is the same thing we saw with lotteries and tribal gaming and other types of riverboat gaming, where one state may get it and then the state next door does not have it, and it's starting to spread mostly because states have to compete with other states. I think the other wrinkle is that some states are allowing the mobile betting option and other states are not. And I think that the mobile betting will then spawn more interactive gaming, which might spawn more internet gambling. And so I think it's the skinny edge of the wedge that will start allowing for more types of gaming nationwide.
Technology continues to change more rapidly.
It does.
What technological trends do you see emerging in gaming?
I think we have not seen, the last year when I came to you, we spoke a lot about skill-based games. And while the companies are still trying to get skill-based games correct and what consumers want to play, I think this year you're going to see a lot of things like facial recognition and things not really specifically about any game or games, but enhancing the player's experience on the floor, or also enhancing the player's experience when he or she's done gaming and goes back home, and how are they engaging the customers. I think that is really big, and I think also social gaming continues to evolve, where it's more free play, but how do you market that to your constituents and to your customers. And I do think that over time here in the United States, like we see in Europe, interactive gaming, digital gaming is going to play a larger part.
One of the words that it's not quite like skill-based, it hasn't gotten to be that much of a buzzword yet, but it's becoming so, is cashless. Do you see the industry becoming cashless? And again, for a GLI that has to test these various systems, what kind of opportunity does that present?
Right. So for a GLI, we test a large majority, if not almost all, of the sports betting and sportsbook and digital, not only in Europe but here in the United States. I do think that as people walk around with less cash in their pocket, you look at my kids or millennials, everybody's almost fully cashless. And so I think the gaming industry will be catching up even more quickly to that. And I think that we'll see ways of putting cash directly on a machine or directly on a system that will get directly to the machine, making it much easier to engage in cashless transactions. Because I think that's what players are expecting. And I think that it's hard. We used to be all coins in and coins out, and then we went to bills, and then we went to tickets, and then ticket in and ticket out. So I just see this as a natural progression, Frank, of how people spend their money in real life, and it's the way that they would come to the casino and spend as well.
One of the concerns a decade or so ago when people talked in terms of cashless then was the regulatory concern that a person could blow all their money and max out their credit cards.
Right.
And now you see the argument that in fact cashless is more of an aid to responsible gaming because people can be excluded because there's a trail of absolutely every transaction that occurs.
Right. I think there's still a big difference between using a debit card transaction or putting money on an account than swiping your credit card at a slot machine or a table and directly maxing out your credit card. I think regulators still continue to make differentiation between those types of gaming. I think that whether you use a debit card or some other like cash thing, I think is a way different than trying to max out a credit card.
When you first began a few minutes ago, you talked about all the new areas that GLI has gone into. Right. If you had your crystal ball and you were to look out 2 or 3 years from now, what would GLI and the gaming industry look like?
I think that the gaming industry several years from now will look much more interconnected. How you gamble at home will translate to how you will be gambling in a casino. A game that you might start at home and getting to various different levels, you will probably get to come to the casino and pick up exactly where you left off at home. I think there'll be a lot more interaction with the brand and the casino that you're playing with. I think also, though, I can tell you that this year we saw the number of slot machines in the United States actually increase, and globally they're increasing. So the slot machine or the skill-based game or the gaming terminal at a casino is not dead, right? I think it continues to grow at a modest rate. And we also have seen the straight up content, which is way more creative today than it's ever been. It is really a creative content game, and I think we'll see even more creative things in the future. So I think that I have seen, though, over the last several years, we're doing incremental steps. I don't see anything on the horizon that's just earth-shaking or just continues, would break the mold and would just completely change things.
Okay, great. Any other topics you'd like to address, James?
No, I just thank you for doing what you're doing here. Fantini report is something that I know that all of my friends and people in the gaming industry look down at our phones at, in the early evening and everybody reads it. I think you provide a great service. And it's good to see you here at another G2E.
Well, it's good to see you, James.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for that overview.
Thank you.